Hi, I'm Dan Blank, college soccer coach and author of the Soccer IQ series of books. What we're going to do here is we're going to look at goals from the defending team's point of view. So we're going to take a goal, dissect it, sort of break it down frame by frame, and analyze what potentially the defending team could have done differently to prevent the goal from being scored. If you read my book, Shutout Pizza, you'll recognize some of the principles that I really believe in when it comes to team defending. If you have an interest in sending me a goal that your own team has conceded and allowing me to break it down for you, I'd be happy to do that. Just stick around to the end and I will show you exactly how to get that done. So without any further ado, let's look at our first clip. Okay, so our first goal is from a Division I women's college soccer game. The team in dark red is attacking a goal to the right. The team in white is obviously defending that goal. This is a brief clip. It only runs 11 seconds, and 3 or 4 of those seconds are after the ball actually is in the goal. So this happens quite quickly. So I wanted to just show you where the play begins so we can all kind of get our bearings. And then what we'll do is we'll let this thing run straight through at full speed so you get an idea of the big picture, and then we'll come back and we'll break it down. So we'll just let it run from here. See a little seam ball. Scoot around the goalkeeper. Good little finish there. All right, so that's what we have to work with. All right, so looking at it from the very beginning, immediately a couple of problems jump right off the screen. The first of which being this right back for the white team is caught out wide of the left wing for the dark team. So that's bad. All right, the second positioning problem we have is right here. You see the player in white, the midfielder, kind of sandwiched between the two attacking players. And we don't know what happened in the 5 or 6 seconds that led up to this. But I know for certain that our life would be better off if that midfielder was inside or goal side of the attacking player who's about to receive the ball. But she's not, so this is what we have to work with. So at the outset, I would say that we have a severe numerical problem here. As a matter of fact, I would argue that the white team is playing 5 against 3. So we have the 5 attackers. This one on the ball has 1. This one's 2, and then 3, 4, and 5. So those 5 attackers playing against the right center back, the left center back, and the left back, those 3 attackers. So in the big picture, we're looking at a 5 against 3. Now, that big math problem is actually comprised of a couple of smaller math problems. If the attacking player comes right up the gut, then we're looking at a 3 against 2. So it would be this defender against 1, 2, 3 attackers. So that's our first math problem. There's another math problem that's actually a little bit worse. And that again involves our right center back up here as she finds herself facing a 3 against 1. So there she is by herself. She's the one, and then there's 1, 2, 3 attackers. So that's the problem that starts everything. Is we're caught numbers down, and as we let this run, we can start to see that 3v1 really starting to take shape. And at this point, the seam is available. Ball played through, and again ends up in the net. So if this problem is going to be solved, it needs to be solved right here. And the first thing that our defenders have to understand is we are outnumbered. All right, we are facing a 5 against 3. These are bad numbers in a bad part of the field. So at this point, our mentality has to shift. We're not worried about winning the ball back. Right now, we're in damage control. Our objective is to drag this play out as long as humanly possible. The longer the play goes on, the more chances we have of doing taking some corrective measures. So, maybe we drag it out long enough that some of our teammates can get back behind the ball and help us out. Or maybe the field just gets a little too crowded and it becomes a little too difficult for the attacking team. Or maybe the attacking team just makes a mistake. But we've got to embrace a siege mentality right now. And we just kind of do what we need to do to hang on for dear life until the cavalry arrives. All right, so that's the first thing is the mentality that we got to take into this. Now, let's go about fixing some practical problems here. So the first thing I would say is this right center back needs to be screaming at the right back up here and encouraging her to get goal side. Now, I don't even know that that's physically possible at this juncture in time, but that's the first thing I see. The second thing is that this right center back is now forced to be responsible for 2 attacking players in advance of the ball. She needs to recognize it, and her defensive partner here needs to recognize it as well. So being that she's occupied by these 2 attacking players, nothing good happens if she also has to confront the ball. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to figure out a way where she doesn't become the point person, where she can do her best to man mark 2 players. So we got to look to where we have actually a numerical advantage, which is going to be down here, where the left back and the left center back are surrounding the right wing from the attacking team. So for us to have much hope of this working out, this left center back needs to be able to slide centrally. So she needs to be pulling the left back inside of the right wing. If she can do that, it'll enable her to slide centrally. It'll enable the right center back to drop off and deal with the 2 players in advance of the ball. And that's the best we can hope for. Instead, what ends up happening is the left center back chooses to drop in, and then the right center back pops off the attacker to come confront the ball. And then we end up again with that little seam ball. So the final piece of this puzzle, since our right center back ends up being the one to confront the ball, is the angle of her approach and kind of and the timing of her approach. Now, God bless her, she's in a horrible bind. She's staring at the bad end of a 3-against-1, so her chances aren't great to start with. My advice here is that good defending is often a matter of choosing the lesser of 2 evils. All right, and when we look at where the ball is when the center back moves to confront it, that ball is probably a solid 35 yards out from goal. So if we're worried about a strike, so the options are right now for the player on the ball to shoot or to try to play a penetrating pass. From the defending standpoint, I'm willing to take the gamble and let this kid fire away from 30 yards or further out. Maybe she misses a target, maybe our goalkeeper makes a save, but that is certainly the lesser of 2 evils. The greater of the 2 evils is the little seam ball, the penetrating pass that gets in behind us and puts a player in alone on goal. So we've got to kind of pick our poison here. And I think the better poison would be, let this kid take another touch. If she has to, if she shoots, she shoots, but we take away the pass. Regardless, that's not what happens. The center back slides centrally, opening up the seam. And then again, the ball has plenty of room to slide through there. It actually misses the first attacker and ends up on the foot of the second attacker. That's how much margin for error they had on that one. So being that she's going to confront the ball anyway, I would advise her to do one of 2 things. The first one is simply this: wait another second. All right, let this kid get it. Let this attacker get a little closer to the goal, and let things get a little more crowded. If she gets a little closer, that seam to the center back's right is going to narrow, and it's a much tougher pass to thread through there. So that's option 1. Another potential option is the right center back could maybe take a step forward before sliding centrally. That would certainly narrow the seam again. The problem with that is it might open up the seam between the 2 center backs so wide that it's just a simple seam ball up the middle. So not a lot of great options, which is often the case when you're defending numbers down. So She slides centrally, the ball gets slotted through, and again, around the goalie and in. So nice goal. I think there are a lot of good lessons that can be learned from this clip, and I hope you enjoyed it and that you can apply it in your own coaching. A couple of notes. I encourage you to visit my website, read my blog at soccerpoet.com. If you want to pick up some really cool gear like this Soccer IQ t-shirt, visit socceriqshop.com. Lastly, if you have a video of a goal that your own team has conceded and you would like me to break it down, feel free to subscribe to my Patreon page. That's what I do there. I break down goals. I do a little web show where we sit around and just talk soccer. So I hope to see you there. If you have an interest, the link is in the description down below this video. Thanks for tuning in to Soccer IQ TV. Y'all stay safe.